Okay, this video is going to be about alcohol and that the fact that it has many different meanings, but one fact remains that it's called spirits. Now, when you go to the Jewel and Osco, you look up and it says wine and spirits. Well, when it says wine and spirits, you're looking at it and you're going, well, spirits, it can't be meaning like the Holy Spirit. No, it can't be meaning like that because that's not in context to religion. It can't be meaning like um happy spirits. So it's actually when they use the word spirits, they're using their definition term, but they put it as a strong distilled alcohol, a strong distilled liquor. It's distilled. It's so strong like brandy, gin, and other things like that. That's the definition of it, of that word spirits when in terms of alcohol. But the Arabic term of alcohol and what it means, and yes, I had to put it on my text. It means the word alcohol comes from the Arabic alcohol, which means body eating spirit. Now, when you get down to spirits, and then you understand how some people black out when they drink alcohol or they say stuff they wouldn't normally say or don't remember saying. They don't remember saying these things. When they don't remember saying these things, they don't remember saying these things because they didn't probably say them in the context that they would say them. So that's why they don't remember saying these things, because they were possessed. How did that happen? And they saying, well, what are you talking about possession for when you was talking about Christianity the other time? Well, spirituality was here before Christianity is what I'm saying. The spirituality is a science. It's not just believing in just, first of all, to have spirituality, you have to know that it is a higher being. It is a creator. If When you have spirituality, when you don't have spirituality, then you're an atheist because you don't believe in nothing or creator nothing. So and that's what I'm not, an atheist. But what I'm saying is, when you have spirits, you have spirituality, because spirituality and spirits go together. It's the word. It's a short word for spirituality and spiritual. When you say spirits, so you're dealing with things that you can't fathom with your five senses, and that's why it's unmeasurable and not understandable. It's measurable but understandable. People say, hey, it's demons. They kind of think that it is. So they understand that, but they don't. Pretty much, they can't measure it. But when you drink alcohol to a point that when you're drunk, you lower your frequency level so low that you allow these entities to come in, these spirits to come in. And when they come in, they take you over. It's called possession. That's what it is, because you're getting drunk as opposed to just getting a buzz. When you're getting a buzz, you're taking more responsibility for things. And like I said before, if it doesn't appeal to the five senses, sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch, then we think it doesn't exist, because that's where we are trapped in. Spirituality, like I said again, is a science, but it's a science not measurable by any man that can try to measure it, because your spirituality isn't there yet to measure it. It's not going to be measured by your puny tools and things like that to figure out to measure it on. It ain't going to measure. It's not going to measure when it comes to these things. So when it comes to these things that are much more ancient than any religion, because they outlived religion or outexisted in religion, they're just not visible to our eyesight, which is one of our five senses. When we can't see them, we can't smell them, we can't taste them. You know what I'm saying? We can't touch them. Then they don't exist, and that is the problem. That's the problem. If we can't do that, then nothing exists. But in fact, that's when they can exist, but can't do anything unless you lower your frequency level enough for them to attack you. And that is when you get too drunk and you just be out of your mind. Now, if you need a little liquor or whatever to make you be freaky, that's on you. And people, do that stuff. They do that, what it is. But when you drunk and you don't have no remembrance of what you did or what you said to people, and it affects other people around you that you claim you love and all that, then you know that you're being possessed by an entity that you can't control, that you agree subconsciously to come take you over. Because every time you get drunk, you black out, and sometimes people don't care. So when you don't care, you agree to that entity that you can't see, because you can't see it. It's a spiritual situation, so you can't see it. So every time you lower your frequency level, there it is. It probably is all around you all the time, but you can't see it. And as soon as it knows what you're going to do, because again, it is certain entities that live outside of our eyesight. And you can look that up. It is certain entities that live outside human eyesight. And if you lower your frequency low enough that they can get in simply because you like, ugh, and you gone, you out of there, you can either get taken advantage of, or you could do something you don't remember, or you could do something you do remember and you liked when you did it, but you could only do it when you're drunk, but you liked what you did it, you liked it. So then that means you're agreeing to whatever entity that came in and pushed that desire through. So now you're agreeing. So when you agree to it, now it can take you over every time and you love it because you like that situation. Which is okay, which is okay if you have control. It's not okay if you don't have control. If you don't have control or responsibility over that situation, then it's something you probably don't even need to be messing with, because every time you're gonna get possessed and do some things that you ain't gonna like you did, or you ain't gonna care you did, but it ain't gonna be so good. It's gonna weigh on your conscience, and the entity that took you over gonna make sure you remember bits and pieces of it, and you gonna tell everybody else you don't remember. That is the problem, because you're agreeing to a lower level entity that comes and takes you over every time you decide you want to do it and get all messed up like that. Now, nobody says drinking is bad. People do things, but do things in moderation and do things under control. Because if you don't do things in moderation and under control, then you're showing no responsibility. And if you don't have the responsibility, you need to have people around you that love you, that look out for you and make sure that you don't do nothing stupid, or you ain't around nobody stupid if you don't have that responsibility. But it's always good to have that responsibility, because we walk around every day dealing with life and different situations, and don't nobody have time or don't even want to look things up to find out that these things exist. Now, you're going to find many different definitions of spirit when it deals with alcohol, but one that remains to be true is called that, spirit. And they ain't calling it that for just one definition or one reason. When you understand something about the tricky tongue, about the deceptive tongue, about the deceptive words, they can mean 4 or 5 things at one time, but still have the same meaning. And that is the trickery of what's going on. Because you ain't got to understand that it mean this and mean that when it's also saying a body-eating spirit, or entities that can come in. You can also look up alcohol and demonic possession. You can look up alcohol and demonic possession, or you can look up alcohol allows demons to come in, or you can look up or alcohol allows spirits to come in, and all of that, because it's not called spirits for a reason, and it can have that definition, the common definition that everybody look at, so that it can be blocked off, so you won't know that. Spirits don't necessarily mean a spirit like, the spirit that you read about in the Bibles and all that. It can just mean spirits, because this alcohol lowers your level to a frequency level, to a level that allows these certain spirits in. Just like somebody drowning that don't know a high vocabulary, and they learn one word and they go wet. Wet can mean many different things, but nonetheless, it still applies to what that person was doing. They was drowning. So what I'm saying is, when you knowing and you seeing something happening, and the definitions and the word speaks for what's happening, then sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes it's what it is, and you can be deceived by certain purveyors of information that can put something out and say, well, it really meant this. A strongly distilled alcohol, a strongly distilled liquor, strongly distilled, and all of this. So you can say, well, why would you call it that then? If it's just strong, why don't you just can't say distilled strong, distilled that? Why you gotta call it that? Because they know what it is. And in order for it to keep being consumed and bought, because it's cheap and you can keep going getting it, you can keep getting it all day long and letting them in, especially when you're drunk. And I know about drinking and getting towed up because I used to do that in pad. I don't do that. No, I haven't done that in a long time, getting it like that. But when you do that, you have to have a responsibility upon yourself to understand. Or if you don't, you got to have people around you that love you. Because if not, it's going to keep repeating. And the situation, I'm talking about when you get drunk. I'm not talking about drinking because everybody does it. Most people do it, not everyone, but a lot of people do. And to have control over something like that, you gotta be a strong person, and you gotta be a lover of yourself as well. So, but like I was saying, look that up. You know, what the word alcohol comes from the Arabic alcohol, which means body eating spirit. But then they also going to say that it's also a strongly distilled liquor, a strongly distilled alcohol, or whatever. So it's going to have many different meanings to throw you off in the fact that the word spirit still remains, and that's what it means. It's allowing you to your frequency level to be lowered, especially when you drink too much. Your frequency level is lowered to a degree or level from which you can be possessed or taken over. And yeah, I'm saying it, but it ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. It's got something to do with spiritual. And spirituality sometimes is a lot of times is understanding to love yourself and what you wouldn't allow to take you over yourself. That's what it is. It ain't necessarily reading from something and then thinking it's you, because everything is inside of you. And I already put that through when I was talking about the car rest. It's already there. It's in you, and that's the God that you need to, or the upper creator you need to connect to, because that comes from a higher self, and that higher self, once you get there, you understand that if you love yourself, then it'll be moderated, or you don't need to do it at all. And that's all, because then lower level entities can't enter your body, because lower level entities do exist outside of our realm of eyesight, and they're demonic in nature and negative. And what they'll do is they'll keep everything in turmoil and chaos, because they know which one is the weakest, and it's going to keep on drinking to the point that they drunk. All right, but anyway, that was just something I just wanted to say about that, because nobody's saying don't drink or whatever. Do what you want. You grown, but to moderate it is to be responsible, because as also as being grown is also taking responsibility. And if you can't be responsible for what you consume, then you might not need to just do it at all. But if you can be responsible for it, and you having a good time, and you doing all this whatever, and you still able to function and do stuff, then you remember, then you good. But if you just to a point where you out of control and you wilding and you tearing up your household and you messing up things, then that you don't have control, and that's just something you got to get wrapped on, because you're being possessed every time. And I don't care what nobody says. That's what it is, and you can look it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, alcohol and demonic possession, or alcohol demons into the body through alcohol, or alcohol and spirits, or in the same. Just look that up. Just put it in the engine, the Google engine. Just look it up in alcohol, or put it in the YouTube engine, or whatever you do to however you find your stuff, or whatever. But look it up: alcohol and demonic possession, or lower level frequencies caused when drunk or off alcohol, lower level frequency. And just look that up and do the connections. Don't look at the obvious, what they want to show you, because again, people got to keep making money. These alcohol companies got to keep making money, so they're gonna give you definitions that make it. But what it really is, it wouldn't be out there if it's many different definitions. It wouldn't be out there. So the point of the matter is, that's what it is, and that's what it's doing to a lot of people. But they're not gonna purvey it that way, because they want to keep making money. All these businesses, just like these companies that come with, well, if you take this pill, side effects can be a broke neck, a double head growing, 2 horns coming out the side of your back, and all of that. But it'll still help you. But the side effects, now it's up to you to agree to do this stuff or not. The same thing with alcohol. They tell you, you get DUI, you get a ticket. The cops will ticket you. You get DUI, or you could crash into somebody. Drink responsibly. But at the same time, they pushing the product. So the whole thing is, it's a choice being given on both levels. It's like, okay, you do this can happen. You do that can happen. And a lot of times that comes down to responsibility. So if you ain't responsible and you think you just want to just keep drinking and doing all this stuff and all that, you can't say nobody said that it was bad. You can't say that they said it wasn't good for you, or you got to drink. You can't say they didn't say drink responsibly. You can't say they didn't say none of that. All of it is going to fall on you. And you can blame it on another entity, But then again, you agree to let that entity in every time you get drunk. But like I said, yo, I'm a spiritual person, you know what I'm saying? And I just have different principles on how I get down because it's a better explanation and than just some old stuff that was given to you like that. But peace and everything and much love. And, everybody just be responsible how you do your thing. It don't matter, just be responsible how you do your thing. Peace.